Hey everybody, Friday, November 22nd, LeCypher will be celebrating its 10-year anniversary at Théâtre Fairmount as part of Unpop Montréal. We have a very special show planned for you. It is a 4-hour improvised show with more than 35 artists on stage. I would say it's like a spontaneously composed hip-hop symphony, once in a lifetime. So I definitely recommend checking it out. Go get your tickets, link in the description, whatever. Point is, the theme of the show is generations. And with generations, I thought I would take the opportunity to talk about some of the projects that have influenced me, that caused Cypher to come about, different projects, different people that I've worked with over the years. Take an opportunity to talk about these things. And so the very first thing that I'm going to talk about is, of course, the main influence on the creation of Cypher, which is the lesson. So for those who don't know the lesson was a live band hip-hop jam session that took place in New York at Arlene's Grocery every single Thursday night. You definitely see the similarities right there. The way I discovered it was that I used to tour with a band called Pneumatic Massive, and I'll definitely talk about Pneumatic in a future capsule. We were down there, I think we were down there for APAP. It might have been APAP in January, something like that. And my friend Jordan Peters, who I used to play with Community, another group that I will definitely be talking about in this series, I knew was playing with the lesson, and I wanted to check it out. So I went there, I went to see the show, and to be honest, I didn't really like it the first time. I was like, it's okay. You know, I didn't get what was going on. At the break, I saw Jordan, I talked to him, and he said, "Hey, did you bring your horn?" I'm like, "Why would I?" Because it's a jam session, you should sit in. And I was like, oh, okay, that puts it all in a different context of whether I liked or didn't like it. So I was like, okay, next time I'll do that and we'll see. And so fast forward a few months later, I was in town in New York again, with Pneumatic again, and went to see the lesson. Checked it out, brought my horn this time, and went and talked to Lenny, who is the band leader of the lesson. I said, "Hey, Lenny, I'm a friend of Jordan's from back in Montreal. Can I sit in with my saxophone?" And I got the best possible response from Lenny, which was, no. I love that, because who the hell am I? You know, I know Jordan, like I'm sure tons of people know Jordan. I'm sure tons of people lied about knowing Jordan too. So yeah, so I really appreciated being turned down, because hey, I could suck, I could totally ruin the whole vibe if I don't know what the hell's going on. So he made the call of rejecting me. And later on that night, Freddie V and Miriam Sassy were there, and they'd sat in at the lesson before and knew the crew, so they said, "Hey, no, he's fine, you should let him sit in." And so, you know, I got to sit in, and it was great. So the lesson, yeah, hip-hop jam session, I saw that a couple of times, and at the time, I'll get into this in a future capsule, but at the time I had been kind of getting people together for private sort of experimentation sessions where we're trying to kind of push the limits of what you can do with improvised music. We're trying all these different cue systems, all this kind of thing, and I didn't really know where to go with this project. But after seeing the lesson, I said, that's where I'm going with this project. This project is not just going to record and do shows, but we're going to be the hosts of Montreal's version of the lesson. So then next thing was I sat down with Jordan, I called him up, and I was like, "Hey, Jordan, I really just want to learn about the lesson, figure out how it runs, how does it work, all this kind of thing." So I talked with him, got some insight into the whole thing, and then eventually started it up. We did technically start at the Belmont. A lot of people don't know that, but we had a 1-month trial or a 2-month trial at the Belmont. After that, we ended up going to Blurry, and that's where a lot of people kind of got to know us, because we really developed our sound and our format at the Blurry. And then eventually moved on to other venues. We were at Bootlegger, Petit Campus briefly, Diazons, and now, of course, we're at PATRO every single Thursday. First of all, if you've never checked out the lesson, so back in the day, the band was called Gentei Kaijo, and the event was called The Lesson. They eventually rebranded as The Lesson GK, and they put an album and started touring and all this kind of thing. But what I wanted to say is, first of all, if you don't know it, I would strongly recommend going on YouTube or something like that and searching for The Lesson New York, Gentei Kaijo, Arlene's Grocery, The Lesson. Find there's still a lot of clips out there that are fucking amazing. Really fire stuff going on. I use a lot of those actually internally within Cypher, talking about like, why does this work? You know, you have like 3 keyboards playing together, but they're not just making a mess. Like, how do you make 3 keyboards playing together make something really cool and really interesting? In fairness, I only got to go maybe 2 or 3 times, but I really got a lot out of those experiences. Each one was a little bit different. Thought of different ways of presenting a show, presenting a jam session as a result of seeing that. We were very lucky also several years later, I guess this must have been maybe 2019 or something like that. Jay Horde, who's one of the core members of the lesson, was invited by the liquor store to do some performances in Montreal, and we managed to get Jay Horde to host or co-host one of the nights with the Cypher. So we got a little piece of the lesson in there to kind of feel like what is it really like. And Jay Horde also brings a very unique approach to it as a singer and not an MC, a unique way of kind of injecting his own approach and his own personality, his own style and influences into that context, which I think is amazing. So yeah, I've got 2 more things to talk about with the lesson. One is that very first time that I went and I saw them perform, they started off and it was just instrumental. No MCs, no vocalists. And I was like, okay, well, whatever. And at some point, an MC comes up, gets on the mic and starts rapping. And the whole band stops, dead stop. Lenny gets up, he comes up to the MC and he says, "I'm sorry, it's not how it works. Please get off stage." And so the MC was like, "But I'm feeling it, like I just want to, you know." And Lenny was like, "That's cool, but that's not how that works. We will call you up when the time is right. It's not now, please get off stage." So eventually they get him off stage, they go back and they start playing again. Playing a little bit. Band stops again. They realize when the MC left stage, he grabbed the mic and took it and left. They stole the mic. They ended up calling the cops. The guy was just like down the street. He was just angry and whatever. So, you know, they got the mic back and everything. But to me, that was a great, like, welcome to New York. Welcome to the hip hop scene. And, you know, also like how to lay down the law as a jam session host. Both that experience and me getting rejected, I was all about that. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. We don't know who these people are. This is our event. You can't just, you know, jump all over us. We've kind of taken that approach a little bit with the Cypher as well. I used to say in the early days of Cypher that kind of our quality control would be that anything that would be like laughed off the stage, if this was a hip hop event in like the South Bronx or something, we definitely should not be allowing here. So, you know, you got to set a standard if you're starting a jam session, if you're starting an event, you know, and that was kind of our guideline. It was definitely inspired by the lesson. Second thing is that there's a number of different hip-hop events that are somewhat open or fully open with a live band with freestyle at the center based in New York. There's Freestyle Mondays, of course. There's Producer Mondays. There's the Jelly BK. There's a whole bunch of different events. I strongly recommend if you're in New York to check out these things. And I'm sure there's many, many more that have popped up since. And recently, Ray Angry from Producer Mondays had said something, I don't know if it was like the introduction of the night or something like that, but he introduced it and said, like, this is not a jam session.
I really want to take you on a journey, you know what I mean? Because music, we're storytellers and we're composers. This is not a jam session. We're composing music. Everyone on the stage is a composer.
This really resonated with me because this sounded, you know, totally like what our goal is and what I heard when I heard the lesson perform. I ended up having a little interaction with him on Instagram and found out that before Producer Mondays and before the lesson, there was the Real Live session. So I've never heard of the Real Live sessions, and this was the predecessor. This was, again, an improvised performance that was kind of presented. You can go online and still find some stuff about it. I'm just beginning to discover what was happening there. But yeah, so there's a long history of stuff. For us, we discovered it through the lesson, but there is so much more out there, and this is just the first of a many-part series about kind of different things that have influenced me. So again, November 22nd at Théâtre Fairmount and pour Montréal. You can find the ticket link either in the description or up above in the bio, and we hope to see you there. Very special concert, 10 years of LeCypher, Year X Generations.
still I gotta unlock these other ways. I'm saying it cause I bring the rage. Matter of fact, yo, man, I turn the